setting is a crucial skill for every leader. You need to be able to think big and set big, hairy, audacious goals for yourself and your team to achieve the level of success you desire. Simply put, the money flows when the vision is clear and compelling. Let's dive in today. Welcome to the Grow Your Business for Good show. This is a place where coaches and consultants gather so you can learn how to lead a world-class business that does not tax your time, your energy, or your financial resources. We are your hosts, M. Shannon Hernandez
and Amy Hager of the Joyful Business Revolution. And our number one goal is to bring you clarity and insight on how to grow your business for good. So what does it mean to zoom in on your X-ray vision as a joyful CEO so you can expand your business beyond what you've ever thought possible? Well, we've created a framework that we use to help established businesses make shifts as well as stepping into the CEO role to expand your business. And so this season, we're talking about our expand method. And today, we're diving in on letter X. For those of you who are joining us on the video, it's on the screen. So expand stands for energy, X-ray, which we're talking about today, plan, alignment, numbers, and delegate. If you want to go back to episode 1 to learn about the full expand method, and we're diving into each letter with each episode of this season. And so as we're looking at X-ray, why do we not set small goals as CEOs? Well, let me tell you, it's because small goals don't inspire true visionary leaders. We get bored with them. So we really need a vivid vision that sets our souls on fire to better see our future in our mind's eye. And so we want something that encourages you to innovate. We want something that's going to stretch your imagination so that it can be your roadmap that will take you along a soul-aligned journey to expand into your fullest expression as a brand and as a company.
I gotta admit, y'all, I am in love with our expand method. And wouldn't you know, Amy's gonna laugh, the visionary CEO talking to you right now got bored and abandoned this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And Amy, we know what happens when I don't have big goals that keep me focused on the future growth. What does Shannon tend to do?
Go squirrely. Screw it up.
Y'all, I go squirrely.
You see our sales plummet.
I go squirrely. I switch things up. Our sales plummet. And then I come back and I'm like, why did I abandon the expand method?
Yeah.
Like it was working. And so this is a normal thing, okay? And we want to help you avoid this, because if you are a visionary CEO, you need to be thinking bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Okay? Does that mean you're going to burn yourself out? No, we're not talking about that. Does that mean you're going to burn your team out? No, we're not talking about that. But one of my best things I love helping our CEOs with is expanding their 3-year vivid vision specifically. And we're going to spend a little bit time today talking with you about the components of a 3-year vivid vision that we work on, not only for the Joyful Business Revolution brand, but also for our clients. And you've probably heard this before, but we overestimate what we can accomplish in a day, and we underestimate what we can accomplish in 1 year. And I believe this is absolutely true. And this is why we work with our joy-fueled business growth clients to really help them think 3-year vivid vision. A lot of those visions are happening within year 1. So we've got to go back and we've got to expand it out into a 3-year, right? But I would just love to know, and we would love to hear from you. You can email us, you can Facebook message us, but how many of you, your to-do list on a daily basis is so freaking long that you don't get it done?
Yes.
But if you
Smart.
look at what you accomplish over a year, you're like, holy hell, I did that.
Right?
Right? So we've got to find this balance between keeping your vision focused forward, which it then becomes your map, right? We help you develop a 3-year vivid vision that becomes your map, your visionary CEO map for many components of how you want to feel as you expand into your fullest expression yet of your brand or company, and what will be putting the pieces in place to fulfill that vision. Okay, this is not another exercise. This is not busy work. I am not talking about you clipping images and creating a vision board, or writing scrappy half-written mission statements and
Right.
doing empty vision board work. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay, I am talking about helping you expand your 3-year vivid vision so you have a roadmap of where you're going and what you're doing and how you want to feel along the way. So, Amy, what are a few of the topics that we help people think through when we're developing their 3-year vivid vision?
Yeah, so some of the components that we really want to make sure that we're focusing on is setting those core values, making sure you have culture and spirit, understanding what your team looks like now and where it's growing and going, diving into community, leadership, customer service. We also want to look at your programs and your offerings. And the other really important P word, profitability. The other things too that I think are important components to your vivid vision kind of tie a little bit more to those day-to-day things, right? So the world-class content that you're putting out there, the events that they're hosting, the media, and the systems and processes that you have in place. We also have to look at your brand images, which I think is kind of one of those higher points as well, to make sure that things are cohesive across the brand. And there's always refinements that can come to that. But the other thing too that's in your vivid vision, and again, I think some people forget about this, it's also your family and your friends.
Yeah. How do you want to be spending your time 3 years from now with your family, with your friends? And
Right.
I'll just share a little story here. I might get a little teary, but last night I went out to dinner for my birthday. I'm turning 47, y'all. And for the first time in probably over 20 years, I have worked on developing a close-knit group of friends. And we had such an amazing time last night. There were 7 of us that gathered, and we had a beautiful dinner. We were there for 3 hours. And
Ooh.
it was so fun to introduce my friends to each other. Some of us knew each other, some of us didn't. But I
Right.
was just reflecting this morning when I was journaling, and I was like, my 3-year vivid vision. I moved into this home in New Jersey 3.5 years ago.
Right.
And my vision was to build local friendships.
Right.
And I was so happy last night. And I'm still very happy today. I'm tired, but I'm happy. Right? So these are the parts we're talking about that you've got to keep your eye on as a
Right.
visionary CEO, growing your company. And the impact of zooming into your X-ray vision is that you become crystal clear on what is yours to do and what is not, based on the future trajectory of where we're going to help you take your business. And you also develop language in this vivid vision with us around
Right.
the feelings that have been whispering to you for so long, and what it is that you're here to do on a bigger level. And this is where we're really going to start talking to you about movement, creating a movement with your work, creating a movement with your mission in the world. And so you'll see here that your messaging needs to shift, and we call it, you're shifting from the messaging you've always used to shifting into movement messaging. So Amy, let's talk a little bit about the movement messaging.
Well, so there's three key questions, I think, as you're moving into movement messaging. And so the first question, and if you need to hit pause so you can go get a piece of paper or come back to this when you're not driving your car, the first question that I really want you to think through is, what is the movement that you are creating? The second question, I can't count. Who are you inviting to join your community? And then that third question, how will you increase your impact by focusing on community building and relationship first? We call it that relationship first philosophy at the center of it all. And when you can get clear on the answers to those questions, you are ready to really start creating that vivid vision. And so we've got three examples that are in our vivid vision, and we can kind of talk through the answers to these questions. So Shannon, with our upcoming content creation on location in Miami, what was the movement we wanted to create? Who were we inviting into the community? And what did we want to increase with the impact by focusing on community building and relationship first?
Yeah, that's so fun. So many of you know, if you've been in this, the iterations of this brand over time. I used to host an event in New York City, New Jersey area called Time and Freedom Live. And it was our signature annual event. Then COVID hit, and then like had to quit the events. And I needed a new vision that was kind of fresh with where I was going. And so I decided to start a moonlight, I think that's the word, to moonlight or to sunset, I think that's the better word, Time and Freedom Live, and to bring back a more intimate, experiential based event where business owners and leaders and speakers and storytellers would come together for 2.5 days and work on their storytelling for their content. And so we're calling this content creation on location. And at the time of this recording, we are 5 tickets away from a full house, which feels really good to say. And we've got the most amazing people. So I wanted to use this event to invite in people from all aspects of life that love the power of story. We've got a story songwriter and storyteller coming in. We've got, oh my gosh, we've got all kinds of people, like people that if I had just done my movement messaging around story, I don't think we would have gotten a variety of people.
Right.
We've got speakers, we've got people who start restaurants up and have a story of, why they went into the restaurant business to do consulting, right? There's a story there about food. We've got Eduardo, who's our opening speaker, and he's going to help everyone understand his path in the LGBTQ AI community and how he's used his story to help people build bridges of belonging.
Okay.
So we really were so intentional with our movement messaging around this particular event. And we're co-hosting with our dear friend and colleague, Alan Cohen, who lives in Miami. And Amy, I haven't been able to tell you this yet, but he came to me last week in a Facebook message and he said, I am so on fire with what we are creating. I love collaborating with you and Amy. And my goal next year is I am getting sponsors so that we can move into a bigger space. And I'm already thinking about the people and the communities I'm going in right now to start selling tickets for next year for 2025.
Love it.
That is a 3-year vivid vision where every year we're going to build onto it. Amy and I would love to take this thing across the world. Content creation in Greece, content creation, in our bucket list, our places that we want to travel, right? So that's a really fun, vivid vision that we are realizing one day at a time. But over the course of this last year, we've got our first one up and going in Miami.
Right. And so then what I think something that hits home with this that sometimes people get confused is even though we're not talking about small goals, we're setting that larger vivid vision goal, there still are small steps to achieve these goals, right? And so no, we didn't come right out the gate and say we're doing content creation on location in Greece. We don't know anybody in Greece. We wouldn't know where to host this thing in Greece. And so we started with a partnership and a collaboration. So making sure that we're utilizing relationship first and community building. And we started in a location that was low, I'm going to say low risk for us. We're hosting this at Alan's apartment complex in his community room. And we're really starting with that invitation. You know, we've put it out there. People are saying, yes, I want to come, but we've also been very, very intentional on who we also want to invite to be there and why it's important to have them there, whether it is our keynote speaker and our kickoff speaker, but also some of the attendees. We have, you know, people who own quilting design businesses. We have someone who has a childcare business. We have people who work more in the holistic healthcare arena. We have people who are working in the accounting and financing arena. And it's really going to be so fun to have all of these people come on location. And I think this is what really hits it home for me is they're leaving with work product. We're not just teaching them concepts and telling them to go home and implement. We're teaching and creating on site. That's why it's called content creation on location.
Yeah.
So,
and one of our visions for this, Amy and I talked about it, is how many of you go to events and you leave with a to-do list? Or
yeah.
you leave with a notebook of ideas and they never get implemented. So we created this event very differently in that after every session where we teach, there is a mastermind and a workshop session where the attendees can work on what we've talked about. They can implement it. They can share ideas with one another, and you're not leaving with a to-do list.
Right.
And to me, that's really exciting. So Amy, let's talk about, I'm going to throw this over to you as the sales team. We have a vivid vision we're working on about expanding our sales team. So walk people through the 3 questions. What's the movement we want to create here? Who are we inviting into this community of sales team? And how will we increase the impact with
And I think that this actually started when I came on board. So this is, you know, now a 6-year vivid vision, let's be honest. And so the movement that we really needed to create originally was to get Shannon out of doing the sales because it wasn't her strength. It was draining. It wasn't her zone of genius. She's good at them. Don't get me wrong. But we knew if we didn't free up that time and space on her calendar to stay in her visionary CEO lane, we would never got to the point to create content creation on location in Miami. And so by bringing me on board, which also kind of involved the rebranding to Joyful Business Revolution from Shannon's name, we really wanted to create that movement to show that it's not just Shannon. There's an actual team behind the scenes here at Joyful Business Revolution that we work together collaboratively to make sure that we're helping our CEOs and our businesses expand and grow sustainably. And so as we're moving into this next phase of bringing on another salesperson, we again want to show that it is a community that's going to help love and support you, because as we teach you, we want you from operating from your place of strength. That's what we also want to do as well. And so we're making sure we bring someone in where sales is their strength. And we really want to have this person, one, believe deeply in our mission as deeply as we believe in. And so they need to be a cheerleader and a fan always first. But also when we're looking at how they have structured their business and how they're looking at how they approach their work, it's very similar of how we approach our work. Building relationships first, caring deeply about the community and people in our community, and knowing that when we are all working together, that's when we all rise. And so what we really hope to increase our impact is, we're able to actually speak with more people and show them how having clear, kind messaging is going to help your business, and how what you're doing right now may be something that you enjoy doing, but how do we 10% better this to actually get ideal clients reaching out to you to start conversations with you? And it's also gonna help us increase our impact because it does show that it's not just one person. You don't have to work just with Shannon. You don't have to work just with Amy to get the results that you want. We are all working along the same methodology. And so by having that opportunity to partner with someone who maybe energetically you align with a little bit more, or who lights you up and brings that smile to your face a little bit more over the other, giving those opportunities for those interactions to happen allows us to serve more people. And therefore, we know that's that ripple effect, right? When we work with more people on kind messaging and expanding from a place of sustainable growth, they're able to help more clients in their fields. So it's creating that bigger ripple effect, which is so important in our brand.
Yeah. And then Amy, and I we've dropped it here a little, y'all, if you've been paying attention. Last episode, we talked about it just a little. I'm not ready to reveal the whole thing yet, but, one of our vivid visions I've been thinking about for years is to have my version of the very nice Shark Tank, which I'm calling Joy Tank. And Joy Tank is really, I haven't even been able to talk to Amy about this yet. She's been out speaking and I'm leaving again soon, but I've really landed on Joy Tank, not as another thing for us to do in this business, but as the business model shift that
Mm,
I want to embody.
yeah.
Supporting entrepreneurs, business owners, who are at certain stages of business with a little bit of funding up front to help them with this 100-day ramp up
Mhm.
to get them off and going before payments start, for the program. So we've been looking at our budget. We've been looking at how many people can we actually sponsor and support in this way. We are looking at hosting our first Joy Tank pitch competition.
Yeah, it's gonna be so much
And
fun.
we're bringing in some collaborators, right? I reached out to somebody who does only teach pitching,
Yeah.
right? For funding. Like, I'm not equipped to teach that shit. So
No.
I'm reaching out to our collaborators. I'm saying, hey, would you like to be a judge? Would you like to help with this pitching process? And one of them was like, oh my God, yes. And if they need some one-on-one time, I'm willing to be that person too. And
Yeah.
we are able to do this, one, because we have a vivid vision and we know how it all works together. But do not underestimate the fact that Amy and I spend countless hours a day deepening relationships with the
Oh,
people in our ecosystem.
so true. So, so true. So as we wrap up our time together today, I am kind of curious, Shannon, what are the main mistakes or maybe the pitfalls that we see when people try to expand their vision with either small goals or not having a vivid vision?
Yeah. So I think there's really four here that I want to highlight. One, your team doesn't even know what your vivid vision is. Like,
Mm,
and I did this for a long time.
yeah, for
Like,
sure.
I was
Yeah.
like, don't you guys know what we're working towards? And they're like, no. And I'm like, what do you mean? Well, it was all in my brain or it's in my notebook, right? So I
Mhm.
started having monthly, we call them all hearts meetings, where we're
Yeah.
talking about and brainstorming our vivid vision. I also take this team, we go to a team retreat once a year. This year we're going in November. That was a vivid vision, right? We've rented a beautiful beach house in
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. I can never remember where the hell I'm going. Thank you, Amy, for remembering.
Yes.
So that's the first thing. Does your team know your vivid vision? Of course, you got to take a step back and say, have I even developed my 3-year vivid vision? You can't
Right.
clearly share it with anyone if you haven't developed it, right? So this is really important. I want you to stop making future focused decisions based on where you are right now.
Mm-hmm.
And this is huge, y'all, right? We need to find the things that are tugging at your heart and build that into a 3-year vivid vision that gets you on fire for what you're here to do. Okay. The third thing I'd say is you can't keep the same old messaging that's worked to this point. You've got to evolve into this movement messaging to create the momentum for the growth that you are seeking. Okay. And this is the hardest part for me, is because it's easy for me to fall back into my old messaging that's always worked. Right. But I've got to call in new people who believe in the mission of Joy Tank, who believe in these things that we're talking about. And then the fourth thing, I would say as a visionary CEO, a pitfall around the vivid vision is you're not in the rooms with people who are doing big things. You are not getting a coach who's helping you think further along and not just keep you in the day of what's going on. You've got to have that balance, right? And I joined a beautiful group this year called Synergy. And y'all, I am in a room with people who are doing big things and have big goals, and we're cheering each other on. And you've got to be in that energy for vivid vision. You cannot be with small thinking people. It's never going to work.
Right.
So, Amy, we created a very fun tool that helps people look at all the areas of their business in this expand method. So tell them about that, where they can get it.
So it's called our business expansion scorecard. And so this tool is really going to help you score what's working well as help identify what isn't currently working well and looking at your blind spots. And so here's what I want to say about this tool, though. Unlike our content personality quiz, which you can take in 30 seconds, this is not a 30-second quiz. This is more like hiring Shannon as your business growth strategist for 10K to help you identify exactly where the gaps are in your business. So give yourself time. Take 10 to 15 minutes to complete this. There are 20 questions in total on our business expansion scorecard. So you're going to want to check that out.
Yeah. And you can get it at joyfulbusinessrevolution.com/scorecard. And then I just have to tell y'all, this next episode's gonna be good. You aren't gonna want to miss it. We're gonna explore this question. What does your brand want to be when it grows up? We'll see you soon. Adios.
Bye.